Sony! Go Sony!
Let's go! It was amazing.
crazy, yeah.
It was crazy. But not only Sony, the other players, they're all super amazing.
Yeah.
They did the best, for sure.
It's really incredible, and then I won't forget about this. And I'm really proud of our country, and then I'm so excited too.
대한민국! 대한민국!
Going behind the scenes of the biggest prize in football, this is World Football in Qatar on the BBC World Service.
Well, the day had the letter Y in it, so naturally there was World Cup mayhem. A famous win for Cameroon, who won't care that it was against Brazil's second-string team. They beat them 1-0 thanks to a goal in injury time from Vincent Aboubakar. By way of celebration, he promptly removed his top, and that was a yellow card. It was his second yellow card, so just seconds after scoring the winning goal, he was sent off. Hello, I'm Manny Jasmi. Welcome to the podcast. Cameroon aren't through to the next round, but there are 7 non-European teams in the last 16 of the World Cup. South Korea, whose fans you heard at the start of the pod, they became the last of those 7 after coming from 1-0 down to beat Portugal 2-1, thanks to an injury time winner, another one by Hwang Hee-chan. That goal suddenly eliminated Uruguay, who were cruising to a 2-0 win over Ghana and thought they were going through to the last 16. After that result, the Ghana coach fell on his sword, but for the Ghana fans, the attention was all on Uruguay's elimination. They still haven't forgotten losing to them 12 years ago. John Bennett tried to make sense of the Ghanaian Schadenfreude.
This must be up there, Manny, with one of the strangest post-match atmospheres I have ever witnessed at the World Cup. One team won, Uruguay, and they're going home. One team lost, Ghana, and they're going home. But as you'll hear, it's the Ghana fans who are celebrating because their arch-enemy, Luis Suarez, who cost them a place in the semi-finals of the World Cup in 2010, is out of the tournament.
Uruguay home! 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 Uruguay home!
Yes, we're so happy. We're so happy. Let them go home. We all go back home.
Everybody home.
I'm at International Airport. First thing tomorrow morning, Uruguay is going back home.
Suarez is going back home. Suarez, yes.
So you're unhappy Ghana are going out, but you're happy Suarez is going out?
Yeah, there's no problem. We are coming back after 4 years. There's no problem. There's no, we meet in Canada, Mexico, and United States
Of America, yeah, we meet there.
There's no
Next
problem.
4 years' time.
We are
No
coming
problem.
back 4 years' time. We are coming back for good. Yeah, Uruguay!
I'm so happy.
Yes, the Ghana fans having fun singing Suarez go home, Uruguay go home, but they're also on the way home as well. Ghana's World Cup is over. As for the Uruguay fans, well, it was difficult to get any of them to talk to me afterwards. They were so down. They couldn't believe that after an excellent victory over Ghana, they're out of the World Cup because of South Korea's victory over Portugal. This is what they were telling me.
Bittersweet, to be honest. It's the first game we actually played well, and that wasn't enough. It's pretty easy to criticize when you lose, and I don't like that. But I feel like Alonso, our coach, messed up with some substitutions. I really think Suarez should have played 90 minutes. This was the game for Suarez. Every ball he was touching, it was either a foul or a dangerous attack. And it's crazy, I mean, it's as I said, I don't want to speak with, the results we have, but bittersweet.
Was it a roller coaster of emotions in there when you're celebrating the win, but then you get the news that South Korea has scored?
Yeah, the last 10 we were following Korea, Portugal. We saw it was 1-1, and all of a sudden we get like this rumor that Korea had scored, and it was weird. We didn't know if it was true. Then we end up seeing, they scored, and totally, it was one of the worst emotional roller coasters we have been through, I guess.
The thing is, we are getting out of the World Cup just because 2 things happened today, and one happened the last time in the Portugal game. They give us a penalty that it was unfair, and now in a revision of a penalty, they didn't grant the penalty to Uruguay. So, it's heavy for us as a fans because we don't know what is going on.
No, it's not strange. It's how it is. I mean, it's 3 games, 4 teams. It can happen. I mean, it was a chance that Korea won their game. Yeah, it was really tough, really tough. Actually, we really wanted to play against Brazil. I think it was our right, historical right, to play against them. And if we had to be eliminated in a nice match like that against Brazil, but it was not possible.
This is the sound of Australian fans erupting in Melbourne at 3 a.m. local time when the Socceroos beat Denmark on Wednesday, Qatar time, to book a last 16 meeting with Argentina. Meanwhile, in Doha, travelling Socceroos fans have been giving their eyewitness accounts to world football's chief detective, Sam Sheringham.
Yes, Manny, Socceroo fans have been quite hard to come by here in Doha, but I was strolling through the souk on Thursday and I spotted a trio of them clearly blowing off a few cobwebs after that incredible victory over Denmark. One of them, it turned out, was the Aussie rules footballer Ben Keys, who plays for Adelaide. Another was a former Socceroo, Richard Bell, who won 2 caps in 1976, and he was there with his daughter Michaela. So the 3 of them were there. I sat down and had a chat with them, and I started by asking Richard whether the Socceroos' performance had surpassed his expectations.
I was quietly sort of hoping. I've been there a while watching a football at an international level. I remember when Australia got through in 2006 to the next round, and I was sort of hoping if we could get to that stage. So, yeah, it was about time. It was going to happen sooner or later, and here it is.
Michaela, you've watched all 3 matches so far, is that right? What's the experience been like here in Doha?
This is actually my first World Cup that I've been to, and the experience has been phenomenal. Watching all 3 matches, brilliant. Tunisia, Australia playing Tunisia was amazing. The game last night was out of this world. Fantastic. It was so good for Australia.
And you, sir, were actually here, you went to see the World Cup in 2006 to see the Socceroos, so this must be bringing back memories.
Yeah, it does. There was a big match where Australia got through against Croatia in Stuttgart, and I think it was a 2-2 draw, and that pushed us through to the next round. Ultimately to face Italy in the final, where we bowed out. So can we go one more? Look, Argentina. I had a go at last night at a couple of the Argentinians and was flashing the shirt in their face, and we said we're going to have a meeting on Saturday night. So it was pretty good fun.
And Ben, what's an Aussie rules footballer doing watching a Wimps game like soccer?
Yeah, they're lucky enough to be able to come over just for a week and watch the Socceroos, and it was certainly special. I thought they played with a lot of Aussie spirit, as cliche as that is, but they were gritty, they were tough. It was trenches stuff, and it's been an amazing experience. Just the week here, so home tomorrow. But yeah, couldn't be happier with what's unfolded.
Have you managed to meet up with some of the players, speak to them in the camp?
No, none of the players are in camp, but there's a couple over here that play. Sort of professionals that played in Australia that are now around the world. So I know one from that used to play for Adelaide United. So met up with him, and he's there supporting like the rest of us. So really special to mix with some football people, and it's been fantastic.
And we've seen that internet footage of the scenes back in Melbourne, people celebrating at 3 a.m, incredible flares going off. Tell me, does that mean football, soccer, is really taking off in Australia? Could this be a catalyst?
Absolutely, yeah. I think Richard mentioned the 06 World Cup. I think everyone sort of remembers that, no matter sort of what sporting background you're from, and it's great. When everyone can sort of unite and get around all sports in Australia, it's clearly it's great for the country. Not a huge fan of the code wars, where sort of all the different codes in Australia vying for number one. I reckon we can sort of support all codes, and it's going to be a monumental moment, I think, for football and just sport in Australia in general.
And Michaela, Ben's going home. You guys are hoping to stay for the round of 16. Some hastily rearranging of flights?
We're looking into it and discussing. We've been discussing all morning as to what to do and how to go about it. So we've obviously got commitments in Australia, but we'll see what happens by the end of the day.
A few phone calls, maybe a little sicky from work, Richard?
I got a lot of phone calls. Sicky from work, I can't play that game. I own my own business. And I've got 20 staff and I've got an appointment book full of patients that I see when I get back. Can I get away with it? I'll have to speak to my partner. He's holding the fort while I'm out. So, yeah, rearrange. You've got to think of your flights. You've got to think of your accommodation. I've got tickets with the Socceroos. I'm going to get through that with that. But it'll be great if I can stay that extra match, yeah.
And Richard, there's a little secret you only just revealed to me, which is that you actually played for the Socceroos.
That was a long time ago, before you were even born. You know, I see your name, Sam Sheringham. Are you any connection to Teddy Sheringham, the famous British?
We must be distant relatives somehow.
Oh, yeah, must be. I've watched him on years scoring goals at the last minute. But yeah, look, back in, I grew up watching the England winning the '66 World Cup. That's when I was only a kid. And of course, 10 years later, I managed to get in the Socceroos, and it was fantastic. My career cut short with a bit of an injury, but it was a fantastic experience. And am I jealous now? Yes, very jealous. I'd love to be on a pitch like this. I'd love to be in a stadium like that. But I saw it all happen, and I was pretty proud.
Let's get a score prediction from each of you. Australia versus Argentina.
0-0, penalties, red man comes on and we win.
Oh, excellent call. What a scenario.
I'd like to say 1-0 our way. Let's see what happens.
It's about time we went for 2 goals, and I think we can pick up 2 goals, but I think Argentina is worth at least 1. But no, I still lean towards we're going to get there.
Well, after hanging out with Sam, Michaela and her father decided to fly home to Australia. I'm sure the two things are completely unconnected. They want to watch the Argentina game with family and friends. Enjoy one and all. One person who will be in the Ahmad bin Ali Stadium is the former Australia right back, Luke Wilkshire. He was part of the Socceroos team that reached the last 16 in Germany 2006. Until now, that's the only Australian team to qualify for the next round in the Men's World Cup. But on Saturday, says Wilkshire, it's time for a new generation to step up.
It's a chance for these players, to write their own history. There's a massive opportunity, there's a massive desire and belief in this group. Although a lot of people will say individually, player for player, is not to the level of some others, but this is a team, and it's a team that's very much together, and when you have that, then you can achieve things.
I guess you must have played with Matthew Leckie. I don't know if you know him. Are you able to tell us how he was feeling after scoring the winning goal against Denmark?
Yeah, I do. I know Lex, and look, I saw him after the game in the change room, and he was just spent. He left everything he had out on the pitch, and we saw that. Mitchell Duke the same, Harry Suter, all of them were just spent, and that's the way you have to play the game. That whether it's 90 minutes, whether it's 60, 70 minutes, and you just can't anymore, then you put your hand up and your teammate comes on and does the rest of the job for you. And we saw that from those players, and they got the rewards of their hard work.
After Australia lost to France, I spoke with Mark Schwarzer, and we spoke about the good old Aussie DNA, which Graham Arnold has spoken about a lot this year. What you were saying there about leaving everything on the pitch, was that the Aussie DNA, especially in the last 2 games?
100%, and I don't think we completely saw against France. I think we took a bit of a backward step, but the last 2 games 100%, and I think that's why they are in the position they are, and that's why they have a nation back home in Australia beaming with pride and joy.
And that's why Argentina, I'm sure they won't underestimate them, but that's why they shouldn't underestimate them, because every game's a fight against Australia, isn't it?
It has to be. That was what we had previously, where there was no team in the world wanted to play Australia. I think that shifted a little bit over recent years, and we want to get back to that, where no matter what, they know when they're going to play Australia. That it's not going to be a pushover. And like I said, I think the France game, I know some people who know some players within the France camp that said that they didn't even need an ice bath after the game. For a team to come off against the Socceroos and say it was a cruise is not what we want. So the fact that now we've shifted that to the mentality, and I'm sure Argentina aren't going to take Australia lightly, because they've seen already what can happen. Obviously losing their first game to the Saudis, and they've shown that they can be vulnerable as well.
A word on Graham Arnold. It seemed like pretty much every time a throw-in went against Australia, loads of criticism rained down on his head, but He took Australia to the Olympics, he took Australia to the World Cup, and now he's taken them to the last 16. He deserves a lot more credit, doesn't he?
100%. I think the results speak for itself. The one thing you can say, he's getting the absolute maximum out of this group of players. You know, I know Arnie, I've known him for a long time around the national team, and you know, he wears his heart on the sleeve. He's a true Aussie. You know, he bleeds for the country, and you can see that within this squad of players. He's a family man. He creates that culture within the group, and that's why you see the unity within the group. It is like a family, and that's the way he treats it. He really cares about his players, you know, and as a player, you feed off that, knowing whether you play or you don't play, that it's a genuine, he's honest. I can't speak highly enough of Arnie, and he definitely deserves all the respect for his achievements and what he's done for this country.
Let's talk about a couple of the players. Harry Souttar missed a year of football just before the World Cup came back to action, and he hasn't just been a rock in Australia's defence. In many ways, he kept them in the World Cup with some of his challenges.
Yeah, just phenomenal. I really can't believe, you know, he's only played, I think it's 5 games since his ACL and in the World Cup. Those 3 of them being in the World Cup, backing up 4 days after 4 days. It's phenomenal, and he's been a rock for us. I think he's probably been one of the best defenders of the World Cup so far, and I've got no doubt we're going to see him go on to bigger and better things going forward.
In 2006, you were part of the golden generation in Germany that qualified for the last 16. It was Australia's first World Cup for 32 years. A lot of household names in that squad even then. How does this achievement by a team that doesn't have household names, that only has 2 players who play in the top 5 leagues, but have still reached the last 16, how does this achievement compare with your team's achievement?
Everyone's always comparing, and you know, there's different generations that history's done and what people have done. Naturally, there was players playing at a higher level. This group of players has gone on to achieve the round of 16 themselves, although not playing at those top leagues. I hope that we'll see some of these players move on to those top leagues soon, which will benefit Australian football. But of course, this is up there to massive achievement, and again, it just shows for me the collective within this group to be able to get results and make this happen.
Before the World Cup qualifying playoffs, I spoke to several ex-Socceroos, and they said that there was a bit of a disconnection between the people and this team because a lot of people didn't know that much about the players. That must have changed by now.
Yeah, it's completely changed. Look, like I said, there was a lot of doubters, a lot of criticism. You know, we went the hard way to qualify. A lot of players, as you say, are not playing in the big league, so are not so well known in Australia. But like I said, now with what's happened, I mean, everyone's seen the scenes back in Australia from the last game at 3 o'clock in the morning. You know, we're going to have millions of people tuning in to watch this next game against Argentina, and for those that didn't know them, they certainly do now.
How do Australia beat Argentina?
By scoring more goals than them.
Football's a simple game, isn't it, Luke?
It is. Cheers, mate. Catch ya.
Former Australia defender Luke Wilkshire talking about one of the games on Saturday. On Sunday, the African champions Senegal take on one of the tournament favourites, England. Delith Lloyd has been to the Senegal camp to see how they're gearing up for the side's first ever meeting.
Yes, I'm at the Al Duhail Sports Centre, which is about 9 kilometres to the northwest of central Doha. It's where Senegal train, and the players are on the pitch right now under the floodlights. It goes dark early evening here, but the temperature is still warm. It's around 28 degrees, much cooler though than the middle of the afternoon. It's an open training session, and there are a lot of television cameras trained on the players. There are a few from Senegal and Africa. Quite a few English media crews here as well, including some English journalists, as you would expect to see as well ahead of the last 16 tie between the two sides on Sunday. Well, I've moved over to an area which is specifically for journalists, hoping to speak to certain players that are put up to the media by Senegal. It's a bit of a media scrum. There's quite a few of us here. It looks like QPR goalkeeper Seny Dieng is on his way over right now. Let's see if I can grab a few words with him. Can I just ask, there's a lot of England-based players in the Senegal team and obviously a lot in the England team. Will that give the match on Sunday extra spice because of that?
No, yeah, probably. I mean, listen, it's a
World Cup knockout stage game. I mean, you don't need any more motivation than that. But definitely that we have a lot of players that play in England is even an extra edge, I'd say.
And how aware are you of the history? The fact is, the first time into the knockout stages since 2002. Are you looking to sort of garner some spirit of that 20 years ago?
Our spirit as a team is very, very good. Like you saw, we won the Africa Cup of Nations for the first time in the country's history, and yeah, I mean our spirit is very, very good.
And how are you enjoying being in your first World Cup?
No, it's an amazing feeling. It's an amazing feeling. It's a dream coming true.
Yeah, the end there maybe giving you a sense of how much of a media scrum that was. Seny Dieng being called away by the Senegal press officer.
Leading the conversation on the global game, this is World Football in Qatar on the BBC World Service.
Senegal and these happy Morocco fans both into the next round. Speak to you next time. Goodbye.